So, what comes to mind when someone says the word pirate? Most thoughts are suddenly filled with the images of blue seas and rugged ships with an even more rugged crew. Most individuals think of dirty thieves that have no qualms assailing you out in the open waters where no one can come to your aid. Some call them opportunists, others call them cowards. Yet the one thing all pirates have in common is the freedom their lifestyle bestows them. The sky has ever been a blue expanse all its own, so it was only natural that some pirates would let the winds take them high above the clouds instead of below them. Gather around, my friends, as we come together to understand one of these infamous groups of sky pirates, the Redbills. The Redbills are a small yet adventurous group of sky pirates that have made the Sea of Clouds their territory. The Sea of Clouds is located high in the sky above Abalathia's Spine, the mountain range that extends along Eorzea's northern coast. This aerial region got its namesake from the near constant cloud cover in the area, and this is caused by the extremely high concentration of wind and water-aspected ether that flows throughout the region. This combination of water and wind ensures that Abalathia's Spine almost always has large and expansive clouds covering a wide area, hence resembling a white sea. These thick clouds ensure that sky pirates such as the Redbills can operate in relative safety, as retreating into the clouds themselves or hiding within one of the various floating islands of the area becomes necessary for groups of their size. But how did the Redbills come to be, and how do they function as a group of outlaws? The story of the Redbills starts within the slums of Ishgard, whilst the city-state was still caught in the throes of the Dragonsong War. Also known as the Broom, these slums became a regular place for the unwashed masses to be left and forgotten, as well as a place where countless orphans eventually ended up. It's here that we come across a young Huron boy named Leofard Myste. If the last name Myste sounds familiar, that's because it's the surname almost everyone living within the Broom takes when abandoned by their friends and family, which is exactly what happened to poor Leofard. Not only was he born in the desolate slums of Ishgard, but his parents would eventually abandon him for reasons not even he is fully aware of. But unfortunately, this wasn't too uncommon of a story within the Broom at the time. Be that as it may, Leofard wasn't a weakling. Even as a child, he did everything he thought he had to in order to survive. Even at a young age, he had all the makings of someone who would eventually grow up into your typical Ishgardian cutthroat. Except, fate would play him a kinder hand than most. A highborn Elizin named Raemil Rolshardun would meet the young boy, and upon seeing his situation, would invite him into her home. But Leofard would find that this highborn house was oddly quiet, as Lady Raemil was not only childless, but also a widow. With a gentle smile, she offered Leofard fresh food and a warm bed to rest. Though instead of seeing her actions as selfish pity, Leofard felt something he had never experienced before, a mother's love. From that day onward, Lady Raemil would raise young Leofard as she would her own son, and as she sat by his bed, she would read him stories of distant yet wonderful places. She would describe these far-off lands with such vivid detail that Leofard was struck with awe, dreaming of traveling the world one day and seeing these places with his own eyes. But unfortunately, Lady Raemil was never a woman of strong constitution, so when she fell ill and became bedridden, there were no signs of her condition improving. Having been raised into a young man by such a kind and generous woman, Leofard did everything in his power to try and save his adoptive mother. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Although it pained him to see his mother like this, he wouldn't abandon her. Leofard would remain at her side until her time came, until he was alone once more. Despite being raised as the adopted son of a noble woman, most of high society still saw Leofard as a low-born mongrel, so he had no reason to stick around with the Ishgardian gentry after his mother passed away. So, with his heart still full of wonder, he decided he would become an adventurer and explore the world, just like he wanted to when his mother would read him those bedtime stories all those years ago. Leofard never forgot how to take care of himself, and his charismatic spirit would quickly yield fruit, as he would have a chance encounter with another orphan of the Broom, Stacia Myste. Upon hearing his dream of seeing the world free from the shackles of a place like Ishgard, she was inspired to join him, and they quickly became best friends. However, the pair would eventually travel together upon a commercial airship, and it was here that they fell in love with the sky, along with the promise of freedom that the wind had offered. As adventurers, they had made a decent amount of money together, and thanks to Stacia's oversight, their funds were never wasted on Leofard's whims. That was until they discovered a derelict airship owned by the High Wind Skyways company, and Leofard wanted it. This airship was scheduled to be decommissioned and dismantled, but one of the Skyways engineers was furious at how their manager planned on wasting the potential the various parts of this ship possessed. This angry mechanic was a Lalafellan woman named Utata Uta, and would eventually meet Leofard at a tavern after her shift was over. The two of them would strike up a conversation, but after hearing Leofard's plans for the airship in question, the Lalafel's mind raced with ideas. She would soon return to her employers and help facilitate a deal between Leofard and the High Wind Skyways company. After a lengthy discussion, a deal was struck, as Leofard and Stacia would purchase the derelict airship off of the company. But after the bargain was made, Utata would look her boss in the eyes and declare that she quits, becoming Leofard's personal engineer. With Utata's help, Leofard and Stacia would rebuild the airship that was originally destined for the scrapyard, and with it, they finally took to the skies. With the freedom of the open horizon in front of them, they declared themselves sky pirates, and the crew of the Redbills was officially born. Eventually, their symbol would become a red bird acting as the sail of a red ship, solidifying their connection with the sky. As sky pirates, Leofard and his crew would fly all over northern Eorzea, pillaging ruins and going through rubble from the war with Garlemald. They would take anything of interest right from under a country's nose and be gone before anyone could stop them. While the Redbills didn't go out of their way to hurt anyone like your typical pirate, they certainly didn't believe in following any rules they themselves didn't believe in. And since they operate outside the laws of Eorzea's various city-states, they are outlaws by definition. Things like paying taxes or following government regulations have absolutely no sway on their day-to-day whatsoever. Although pirates are known for robbing unsuspecting people, the primary reason this group doesn't attack Eorzean travelers or merchant caravans is because it would ultimately cause them too much trouble with the city-states later down the line, and the Redbills aren't known for attacking innocent civilians. But during their adventures, the Redbills would eventually find a small collection of floating islands in the Sea of Clouds that were remote enough so that they could live in peace away from the eyes of any government. Utata would make preparations to turn these islands into a proper pirate den, creating the Redbills' hideout, the Perrock. This location became perfect for them, and has only been improved upon over the years. Slowly but surely, time would pass and their reputation would grow, meaning their crew of 3 would eventually become more than a dozen strong. Country and origin has no sway with the Redbills, as they currently possess at least 6 different races in their ranks. Not only that, but each and every member of the Redbills is given a red and black scarf to mark them as a permanent member of their crew. Leofard rarely cares how the crew uses these scarves. It could be an accessory or a washcloth, but so long as someone is an active Redbill, he expects them to have the scarf somewhere on their person. As the number of members in their crew steadily increased, the complexity of their heists would also evolve. They even began attacking rival sky pirates who were going after the city-state supply lines just so that an army would never be sent into the Sea of Clouds and bother them. Because of these acts and their ceaseless treasure hunting, they would become famous for their exploits, amassing a respectable wealth for a team of their size. They even found a near-constant rival within another sky pirate gang, called the Talons, led by a woman named Radlia Keene. Radlia grew up as the daughter of a famous Alamegan mercenary, and eventually used that rugged lifestyle to create her own gang and terrorize the skies. However, her plots are quite often foiled by Leofard's quick wits, giving him reason to mock her on a regular basis. It's speculated that Radlia and Leofard had some form of a relationship before becoming a sky pirate, which would explain her determination to make him work for her. But given Leofard's free spirit, he's never willing to follow a command he himself doesn't agree with. But even with all this adventure and success, Leofard never once forgot about the woman who gave his life a second chance. His beloved mother, Lady Redbills. Even after all this time, his love for her was so true that he made sure to carry her on in spirit. The two biggest things he would do to honor her memory are as follows. One was that he christened his Manicutter-class airship with her name. Back when she would read him bedtime stories, she confessed that she would like to see these faraway places just as much as he did. So by giving his airship her name, he gets to take Lady Redbills to all the corners of Eorzea that she never got to see. The second thing he did was display a gorgeous painting of his mother within his chambers, a constant reminder of her generous spirit and love. In fact, the artist who drew this painting was none other than Redbills' father, Lord Duremert, who became a famous portraitist after abdicating leadership of the family house to his son, Lady Redbills' brother. While Lord Duremert wasn't always there for Leofard, the man has been moved to tears on more than one occasion thanks to the Sky Pirate's various ways of keeping his daughter's memory alive. And that, my friends, is the origins and operations of the notorious Redbills. Frankly, there's more to tell, as they've recently become involved in events that would see to the unearthing and pillaging of various relics from the ancient civilization of Mach. But that is a story for another day, as those trials and tribulations would eventually end alongside a battle with a first-rung voidsent, the most dangerous of them all. So take heart. While many pirates are just as scummy as the stories make them out to be, there are some that believe in more than plunder through violence. But don't let their passivity fool you. While the Redbills are mostly content to live and let live, should you cross them or take from them, you're no longer some innocent bystander, and Leofard will set upon you with the same ferocity of a pirate king. Thank you all for watching to the end. If you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe and share this with your fellow adventurers? With your help, I'll try to reach out even further and bring even greater stories to you. Although, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my biggest contributors. A grand thank you to Papaya Cyan, Rovakis, Burn My Pancakes, The Yellow Couch, Sage Mouse, Volvalis Oma, Cizane, Azeri, Nahil, and Cat, with an additional nod to the scholarships on screen. Links to things like my Twitter and that of my channel artist Catty can be found in the description. Thank you all for your viewership as well as your support, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day. Class dismissed.